Hey, little thinkers, let's rewind.
Time to travel back.
Hello, bright explorers. Tonight, the lamps glow warm and tiny hands reach for ivory keys. Our journey begins in Leipzig long ago. A little girl listens to soft hisses from gas lamps in a whispering crowd. Her name is Clara.
Welcome, dear friends. This story sparkles with courage. It shows how a calm heart can hold big storms. A child learns, a family grows, and a stage becomes home. It will be exciting and also very kind to your feelings.
Here's a secret to raise your eyebrows. As a teenager, Clara wrote a full piano concerto. A famous conductor lifted his baton just for her. But how did a child become that brave? Let us find out together.
This story fits children, teens, and grown-ups who love real heroes. It has fast carriage rides, bright stages, and quiet courage. Some moments are serious, but never too heavy. Hearts will stay safe while minds grow wide.
We need someone who can open old doors and let us hear the past. Someone who can show Clara's world with living detail. Someone who can tell this amazing story much better than we can.
Dear storyteller, take our hands and guide us. Let the lamps flicker, let the keys click. Tell us how Clara Schumann rose from wonder child to a force of strength.
Leipzig, on a cold December evening in 1828. The big hall glows with gaslight. The air smells like warm wool and lamp oil. A small girl steps onto the wooden stage. Her name is Clara Wieck. She's only 9 years old. Her shoes tap lightly. A metronome clicks somewhere in the wings. Her father, Friedrich, stands still, watching with sharp eyes. The crowd grows quiet. They have heard of a child who plays like a grown master. Clara bows with careful grace. She sits, places her little hands, and the hammers begin to strike the strings. The sound is clear and brave. The hall holds its breath. A child prodigy has arrived, not by magic, but by work that began before sunrise and ended long after sunset. Clara grows up in a house full of pianos. Her father teaches in a busy studio. He believes skill is built, note by note. Morning means scales before breakfast. After lessons, there are more exercises than reading, harmony, and ear training. Her mother, Marianne, a singer, lives far away. Clara stays with her father and learns with fierce focus. Friedrich plans every minute. He hears tiny mistakes and stops them at once. It is strict, and sometimes it feels hard. But Clara builds speed and strength. Day after day, her hands learn to speak. They learn to sing clearly on the keys. The girl who bowed in that hall becomes the girl who can carry a whole program on her own. Tours begin. At first, stagecoaches rattle along rough roads, blankets slide, lanterns sway. Later, steam engines puff on new rails. City by city, Clara plays with calm power. She is still a teenager when Vienna opens its doors. The halls are grand. Applause rolls like a wave on a beach. Listeners whisper about her touch, so clear and strong. In Vienna, honors come. The court names her a Royal and Imperial Chamber virtuosa. That is a very high praise. She does not grow proud. She grows steady. She chooses programs that are serious, not just flashy. She wants people to really listen. She wants the piano to tell deep stories, not only quick tricks. At 13, Clara starts writing something bold. A big work for piano and orchestra. Her pencil moves fast and sure. She tests ideas on the keys. She listens, fixes, and keeps going. The notes grow into a concerto. At 16, the great hall in Leipzig fills again. A famous maestro, Felix Mendelssohn, lifts his baton. Clara steps forward as the soloist. The orchestra breathes together. Then her hands fly, not to show off, but to speak clearly. The new concerto is strong and smart. It carries the thoughts of a young mind that already knows discipline. When the last chord fades, people shout and clap. The teenager smiles. Tired and happy, she has composed and she has led the way. In her father's house, a young man once climbed the stairs. His name was Robert Schumann. He came to study with Friedrich. He wrote stories in sound. He was curious and kind, and he loved bold ideas. Over time, he and Clara shared thoughts and hopes. She played his works with care and fire. He admired her mind and her courage. Their friendship grew into love. But Friedrich said no. He feared losing his star pupil and his careful plans. Arguments filled the rooms, papers piled up. Years of struggle followed, and even the courts became involved. Clara stood firm. At last, on a September day in 1840, one day before her 21st birthday, she married Robert. She chose her path with a steady heart. Married life meant 2 pianos and many dreams. Robert composed at one desk. Clara practiced at another. They kept a shared journal, writing thoughts about art and family. They moved when work called to Dresden, then later to Dusseldorf. Clara learned how to plan a concert season and a household at the same time. She kept strict practice, even when the kettle whistled and letters needed answers. She took Robert's pieces on tour and helped people hear his voice. Her own mind kept creating too. Songs, character pieces, and a beautiful piano trio took shape. She balanced many roles, and she did not let go of her art. Children arrived one after another, until there were 8. A cradle stood close to the piano legs. Clara learned to sew the baby, then returned to scales. She became the main earner for the family. Concert tours paid the bills. Sewing, food, rent, and medicine all needed coins. She chose programs with care. She played from memory, which was rare back then. Listeners saw no book on the stand. They saw a face that knew every phrase by heart. That choice set a new path for later pianists. Her concerts were not tricks and sparkle. They were stories told with steady hands and a brave mind. Some seasons brought an extra challenge. Even when a new baby was on the way, Clara stood under the lights and played full programs. The audience saw a calm figure in a dark dress, hands shining pale in the glow. No one heard worry in her tone. They heard strength. Between pieces, she rested a moment on the bench, then lifted her hands again. People admired the courage, but did not know the weight she carried. She finished every concert with care, then returned home to tiny shoes and soft blankets. Her work and her love walked side by side, step by step. One winter night in the 1840s, a special premiere began. Robert had written a piano concerto. Clara knew every corner of it. In Dresden, under the baton of Ferdinand Hiller, she took the solo part. The orchestra waited for her cue. She entered with clear rhythm and bright tone. When her hands answered the horns, the hall felt a spark run through it. She did not crowd the music, she carried it. When the ending arrived, there was a short silence, then thunder from hands. The piece was born into the world, and Clara had given it a strong first voice. In the autumn of 1853, a young composer visited their home. His name was Johannes Brahms. Rain clung to his coat. He sat at the piano and played with fire and grace. Robert heard a new voice for the future. Clara listened too and felt respect rise. A friendship formed among them. They shared long talks about form, balance, and feeling. Later, when life grew hard, Brahms would stand by Clara. He would help carry heavy loads that were not always seen by crowds or critics. The friendship shaped the music world for many years. Then came a dark February in 1854. Robert became very ill in his mind. He asked to be taken to a hospital in Endenich, near Bonn. The river ran cold and fast that week. Clara was expecting another child. Doctors said she should not visit him. Those were the rules then. So she waited, and she worked. She kept the home steady. She practiced hard. She spoke gently to the children. At night, when the house calmed, she sat by a low fire and planned the next tour. The world felt heavy, but her steps did not stop. In June of that year, a boy was born. They named him Felix. Work called again soon. Clara packed a small trunk. Coins were tight and concerts brought food to the table. She kissed sleepy foreheads and set out. Cities welcomed her because her playing was honest and true. She did not show off. She searched for meaning in every page. Reviewers wrote about the steady fire in her tone. Students watched her hands and learned how to shape a phrase. Far away, Robert stayed under care. Letters carried love and news back and forth, step by careful step. In the summer of 1856, Clara finally saw Robert again. The room was still. His hands lay quiet. Soon after, he passed away in Bonn. The loss was deep and wide. Clara did not fall into silence. She stood. She chose to keep his voice alive. She would play his works across many countries. She would guide the world to understand his ideas. She would raise their children with care. She would accept help from friends, and she would also help them. Grief became a quiet companion, but so did purpose. Work changed shape. Clara became an editor of Robert's works. With Brahms and others, she checked notes and rhythms. She chose fingerings and tempos that felt right to the heart. She corrected misprints. She protected the clean lines in his pages. These choices still guide pianists today. She also wrote cadenzas for great concertos, showing how to reach a bright ending without losing depth. Late at night, when the city slept, a small lamp shone on paper. Sharp pencil lines fixed small truths that would last for generations. She toured England many times. London halls felt huge with long rows of seats fading into soft shadows. She walked out without a score and played from memory. People were stunned. They leaned forward and forgot to breathe. She chose serious works by Bach, Beethoven, and Robert Schumann. She cut out shallow showpieces. Those choices shaped what a piano recital looks like today. Her programs told a story. They asked listeners to think and feel, not only to clap at fast fingers. Again and again, she proved that quiet courage can fill the biggest rooms. In 1878, Clara began teaching at the Hoch Conservatory in Frankfurt. Students arrived with nervous steps and bright eyes. Her lessons were clear and strict. She asked for a singing tone and honest feeling. No fake drama, no empty speed. She showed how to shape a phrase with breath and rest. She taught how to listen for balance like a quiet talk between hands. When a student tried to dazzle, she would point back to the line and say less is more, though her voice stayed gentle. Many left that room stronger than they came. Family trials did not end. One son, Ludwig, needed care for a troubled mind and lived away. Another son, Emil, had died when very small. Money still mattered each season. Clara managed with letters, teaching, and tours. Her older daughters, like Marie and Eugenie, helped at home and during travel. Friends offered hands when days grew heavy. Through it all, Clara kept going. She balanced lists and lullabies. She laughed sometimes too, at small silly things, and kept warm corners in the house where stories and comfort lived. Over the years, Clara wrote less new music. Her earlier pieces, like the piano trio in G minor from the 1840s, kept their place. Her main work became shaping concerts, teaching and protecting the legacy of Robert, while also lifting the voice of Brahms. She chose what to play and how to play it with deep care. Each program felt like a map. It led listeners through old forests and new paths without losing them. She showed that a performer can be a guide, not only a spark. In the late 1880s, her hands began to ache. She still played with grace. Her final public concert came in the early 1890s. The applause rose like a tide that did not want to go out. After that, she stayed closer to the teaching studio and the editing desk. Visitors came to pay respect. Young players came to learn. She did not chase praise. She kept her calm routine. Tea, letters, careful work, and a little quiet rest by a window with light drifting across the floor. In May of 1896, in Frankfurt, Clara's long journey ended. She had a stroke and passed away at home. She was laid to rest in Bonn, near Robert. The river flowed beside the town, slow and steady. People who loved her work felt both sadness and thanks. They remembered the small girl on a bright stage. They remembered the strong woman who carried 8 children, a great art, and a promise to guard another's voice. Her life formed a full circle, not loud, but deep. Today, pianists still follow her path. They play from memory and build thoughtful programs. They honor Robert Schumann and Brahms, just as she did. Her additions guide fingers and ears. Her brave choices shape concert life even now. She showed that greatness does not mean never being tired. It means holding steady when storms blow. She was a child prodigy who did not fade. She grew into a leader. She turned hard days into carefully planned steps. Her story proves that art and care can live in the same heart. Clara Schumann began as a wonder child and became a power of quiet strength. She balanced love, loss, and work without losing her voice. She brought serious listening to the piano stage. She guarded the music she believed in, and she taught others to do the same. Her life stretched from early trains and gas lamps to new schools and grand halls. Through all those years, her hands told the truth with every note. That truth still echoes whenever careful fingers touch the keys, and a room falls gently still.